Picture this. You're camping on the edge of a state park. The forest is absolutely still in that way that makes your skin crawl. No insects, no birds, just you and the sound of your own breathing. From the lake, a low mist starts rolling in. That's when you see it. A huge, dark figure standing just beyond the tree line. Taller than any person, broad shoulders, no neck, eyes like dull embers. Bigfoot, or something wearing a Bigfoot suit. Before you can grab your phone, the air around you changes. It's like the pressure drops, your ears ring. A bright white orb glides silently over the water, stops for a heartbeat directly above the dark figure, then shoots straight up into the sky and vanishes without a sound. You bolt for your car. When you finally slam the door shut, you notice your watch. Somehow, you're missing 40 minutes you can't account for. And when you play back your dashcam footage later, the moment the orb appeared, the video glitches into static. But the audio keeps rolling. On it, in that dead silence, you hear a whisper in the back seat, except no one was there. Tonight, this video is about that overlap. The places where ghost stories, Bigfoot encounters, and UFO sightings bleed into each other, and the disturbing question that almost no one wants to ask. What if it's all the same thing, wearing different masks? So what did you see that night? A ghost voice, a Bigfoot shape, a UFO, or one thing showing you three different faces? The question. One phenomenon, many masks. Most people keep their monsters in separate boxes. UFOs belong in the sky, flying craft, strange lights, missing time. Ghosts haunt buildings, disembodied voices, cold spots, objects moving on their own. Bigfoot stalks the woods, huge footprints, howls, something crashing through the trees just out of sight. But once in a while, those boxes collapse into one pile labeled High Strangeness. Witnesses report Bigfoot and glowing orbs in the same field. People see a UFO over a farmhouse, and then the house becomes violently haunted for months. In places like Skinwalker Ranch and Mount Shasta, you get a sampler platter, cryptid creatures, ghostly activity, poltergeist-style objects, and craft in the sky all in the same few square miles. So a handful of researchers started asking a dangerous question. What if these things were never separate to begin with? Back in the 1960s and 70s, a writer named John Keel dug into some of the strangest UFO and monster cases he could find. He started noticing exactly this kind of pattern, where there were flying saucers. There were also ghost stories, poltergeist outbreaks, and weird creature sightings in the same towns. Keel eventually rejected the simple idea that UFOs were just hardware from another planet. Instead, he suggested something much stranger, that there is an intelligence living alongside us, not from outer space, but from a kind of other layer of reality right on top of ours. He called these entities Ultraterrestrials, and believe they can appear as whatever gets the most attention in a particular time and culture. According to this view, the same root phenomenon might have shown up as fairies and demons in the Middle Ages, airships in the 1890s, as saucers in the 1950s, shadow people, and greys in the 1990s. And now, as tic-tac UFOs, portal wolves, and glitching humanoids on trail cams, the masks change. The puppeteer does not. Take Bigfoot. In the classic version, he's a shy flesh and blood primate that just hasn't been cataloged yet. But then, there are all the reports that cryptid researchers quietly call too weird to publish. Bigfoot tracks that simply stop in the middle of an open snowfield with no cover anywhere. Creatures that seem to fade out or step into invisible doorways. Sasquatch sightings that happen immediately before or after strange lights or structured craft are seen overhead. In the early 1970s, during the famous Pennsylvania flap, investigators logged waves of reports that combined glowing orbs in the sky, eerie lights in the woods, and Bigfoot-like creatures in the same areas at the same time. Some witnesses described the creatures literally standing in beams of light from the sky or disappearing as soon as a UFO shot away. Fringe theorists took this seriously enough to suggest that Bigfoot might be an alien biological scout dropped off by UFOs, a being moving through interdimensional portals that share the same energy as UFO phenomena, or a kind of projected form or residual entity linked to some larger intelligence. In other words, part ghosts, part animal, part UFO. Now let's flip it. What happens after a UFO encounter? There are cases where it doesn't end with lights in the sky. The weirdness follows people home. Witnesses talk about poltergeist phenomena, objects moving, doors slamming, knocks on the wall, starting after a close UFO encounter, shadowy figures appearing in bedrooms at night, strange phone calls, electronic harassment, and a sense of being watched long after the craft is gone. At places like Skinwalker Ranch, investigators have reported orbs and triangular craft overhead. Large, unidentified creatures stalking the property, disembodied voices, and time distortions inside the house and fields. Is that 3 different hauntings stacked on one unlucky piece of land? Or one thing pressing through in whatever way it can? Some authors compared this pattern to a stone dropped in a pond. The sighting is just the splash. The ghosts, cryptids, and poltergeist activity are the ripples. Keel tried to give all of this a framework he called the Superspectrum, not a scientific term, but a metaphor. Imagine reality as a huge electromagnetic band, most of which we simply don't perceive. But in that picture, ghosts might be glimpses of human consciousness or residual patterns bleeding across the boundary between our slice of the spectrum and another. UFOs might be vehicles, or distortions created when something crosses those layers more forcefully. Bigfoot and other cryptids might be biological or semi-physical forms that only partially tune in to our frequency, which is why they leave prints one moment and vanish the next. John Keel and later commentators suggested that ultraterrestrials, whatever they are, can move up and down this spectrum and choose how visible or what shape they want to be. To someone steeped in folklore, they might appear as an angel or a demon. To a hunter, as a monster in the tree line. To a modern skywatcher, as a craft that outruns fighter jets. If that's even partly true, then arguing over whether a thing was really a ghost or really a UFO might be like arguing over whether a radio station is really music or really a voice. It depends on how you tune in. There's another twist: the role of belief. Psychological studies find that people who believe in ghosts, UFOs, and cryptids tend to share certain cognitive traits. They're more likely to see patterns in randomness and to connect coincidences into meaningful stories. Skeptics say that explains everything. Our brains are producing all these monsters out of noise. But in a unified paranormal view, human consciousness isn't just a faulty camera. It's part of the mechanism. Our expectations, fears, and cultural myths might shape how this underlying phenomenon chooses to show itself. If ultraterrestrials or whatever sits behind the mask can reach into our perceptions, then a devout person might see a glowing figure as a saint, while a sci-fi fan might see the same presence as an alien. And a cryptid hunter might see an 8-foot ape-man step out of the trees. The costumes are pulled from our own minds. That would mean our folklore is not just a record of what's out there. It's a collaboration between us and something that needs our stories to appear at all. What if it's all one thing? So here's the unsettling possibility. When someone hears footsteps pacing the attic of an empty house, when a driver sees a towering, hair-covered figure step onto a lonely road, when a family watches a silent triangle drift over their farm and lose an hour of time, they might not be meeting 3 different mysteries. They might be brushing up against the same otherness, an intelligence that has shared this planet with us all along, peeking through whatever mask will get our attention, ghost, monster, or machine in the sky. If that's true, and every haunted house, every Bigfoot trail, and every UFO hotspot isn't a separate file in some paranormal cabinet, it's one case. And the thing on the other side has been changing costumes for as long as we've been afraid of the dark. So what do you think? Are ghosts, Bigfoot, and UFOs 3 different mysteries? Or 3 fingerprints from the same hand? Let me know about what you think and tell me about your strange encounters in the comments below or email me. And as always, thank you for watching PhenomenOdd. If you enjoy videos like this and want to see more, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.